Nation, and welcome to the Road to Muni podcast. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Coach Kevin Lovers, and we'll just jump right into the big news. I know that I've teased it out on social media a few times, and I just want you to just promise us one thing, that you, after you hear the big news, you'll continue watching. We do have some great stuff, as well as we are winding up the last 2 weeks here of the regular season, and have a lot of big time races going on right now. And but for our big news, we are excited. Something we do every year is our preview show, or our NAI National Tournament preview show, and we have been talking to the NAI for quite some time right now, and we are going to team up this year, and they are going to actually take our preview show and put it on the NAI YouTube channel. So if you're looking for our preview show this year, that'll be on the NAI channels this year. And then we are actually going to also do a Road to Muni, or we'll do Road to Muni podcast live from the round of 16. It'll be a show inside Municipal Auditorium. I believe for right now, we'll probably be in front of the big bracket in the lobby. But it'll be a chance for people to come, if you're in Kansas City, to come even watch the show. It'll be a taping of it, but it'll be able to, you guys can come and watch us and say hello. And we're excited about it. Coach, I know you've been part of those conversations too, but I think this is going to be a very good chance to just really enhance the experience and bring something unique to the NEI here.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's all about trying to put spotlights on great programs, great kids, great coaches, and the incredible product that NAI basketball is. And so it's really fun to have been able to help cultivate a partnership with the NAI. And I just know everyone's really excited about the overall trajectory of men's basketball and basketball in general in the NAI and junior. You know, you've put a lot more work into this than I do, for sure. And for people that don't know you very well, I know you don't want me to compliment you publicly and all this kind of stuff, but Junior pours his heart and soul into this, and it's really, I think, honestly, you've done a phenomenal job raising the bar for NAI basketball and really developing these partnerships and putting the spotlight where it should be, right? Which is on the kids and the programs and the experience. So hats off to you. Thanks to the NAI. And we're certainly excited to continue to grow that partnership, and in the coming years come out with some more fun announcements and things that we can do in partnership.
Yeah, as Coach kind of teased there, there's some other stuff we're working on behind the scenes that we got to test out first, but we're going to try to bring out some more fun next season in this partnership too. But we're excited, and we're like we said, as Coach said, you know, this has always been about the coaches, the players, the programs, and we are very, very excited to try to enhance that visual and vision for everybody, and try to bring better coverage. So stay tuned on that. We'll have more as it leads up to it, but this is the Road to Muni podcast, and before you can even get to the tournament, Coach, you got to have these regular season games, and we had another big week of action, and we're starting to see some teams, maybe that had some preseason success or preseason hype coming into the season and starting to play some really good basketball. You know, you got a Wayland Baptist team who's now moved into a tie for second in the Sooner Athletic Conference. You know, you got a St. Thomas team out of Florida who's now tied for first in the Sun. You got a Madonna team who is overtaking Lords in the WAC for first place. You can go up and down the list here, and I know here after a bit we're going to talk to Coach Limback at Concordia, a team that's red hot, playing really good basketball. Just a lot of fun basketball being played, but just you're starting to see these teams that maybe didn't have a great start to the year, and they're starting to figure it out and play good basketball right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's still significant amount of meaningful basketball left these final few weeks, right? I mean, there's just Coach Limback, we'll talk with him a little bit about some of the play in the GPAC and other leagues around that. There's only a game or maybe two separating first and fifth in a lot of leagues. Another team you didn't mention that I've noticed, and I hadn't really noticed much, is Texas College, right? They won 12 in a row. I don't think they've lost since January. I mean, that's just sort of like where did that come from? And
I'm
it's
yeah.
awesome,
I made a
so
post. I made a post after the win last night, and you're absolutely
yeah,
correct. I mean, it is time for maybe the NEI and us. I mean, we
yeah,
some teams you kind of just lay in the weeds and you're just not real sure about.
yeah,
And no
yeah,
disrespect to anybody, but their games are a little bit harder to watch because their camera. I think it's like
yeah,
motion detector camera, so it doesn't really follow the game. But they
yeah.
are for real. I mean, it is time to start. Very good call because they are for real.
Yeah, no, and I mean they beat. You look inside the the ARC ranking and whatever else it is for that region. I mean they got a 30-point win over LSUA. I mean they've beaten Xavier. They've won 12 in a row. They haven't lost since January. Second in that league. That's a team that's going to be. I'm curious to do a little bit more research on, but yeah, that's one I wanted to point out as well that really caught my eye as I was flipping through things this morning. So hats off to that program and pretty cool to see. It's fun to watch, right? We talked at the beginning of the year. Hey, it's a long season, and just because you're hot in November and December doesn't really mean much. It's who can get it rolling January, February, and into March, and they got a clean sheet starting in January all the way through now. So not sure anybody's real interested in playing them.
No, and I'm telling you, it's you know, those some of those teams you don't know much about that don't have that national persona, quote unquote national persona, are sometimes the more deadly ones that come in open round because you just don't know about them. You haven't spent years watching them. You haven't spent years knowing their
Yeah.
style of play. This is a newer team in the NEI that should be a little bit or should be a lot of fun
I
to
remember,
watch and see what they can kind of do in the tournament. Because I know I mean, you could speak from a coach's level. Would you rather see a team that you've maybe heard of and seen for 5-6 years, or do you want to see that team in the open round that all of a sudden you're like, I have no idea about these guys at
no,
all?
no, no. I want a known commodity. I remember this reminds me back in my AAU recruiting days when I went to this gym in Texas in the middle of nowhere. I was in Houston and to an AAU tournament, and this team shows up, and these kids all got these white T-shirts on with pretty much Sharpie, numbers written on the back, and you see kind of people kind of pointing and giggling, whatever, and I'm sitting there going, I wouldn't count these kids out, and I tell you what, they went out there and kicked the snot out of the out of the team that they played, and so it's like, just because you don't know much about somebody doesn't mean they're not good. And so
No.
that's the fun part too at this level is like, people, you get transfers at semester, things change sometimes, whatever. But yeah, for my money, I want a known commodity. I want to know somebody I can go in synergy and watch, 500 possessions of offense and I know exactly what they do and the same thing. And I really don't want any mystery or secrets. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call that team out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Nope. Shout out to the Steers, and looking forward to some Red River Athletic Conference tournament as well. And these conference tournaments are basically about 2 weeks out now. Some teams have 5, I know, games left because we got a couple makeup games, but most teams have 4 games left, and then a couple even only have 2 or 3 games left. So it's starting to get to that time of year where like everything's starting to take shape. And we've mentioned it several times on the podcast before too, but you don't just have the teams at the top of the league. Every league's a little bit different, but like some teams are not making the conference tournament, so you're starting to see some of these upsets that happen during the year or during the week as well, just from teams that are trying to fight for their season. And then you also have the emotions of senior nights coming up too. We've already seen a couple senior nights this past weekend, and those games are always emotional. And I know there's a lot of different formats. Some people want to do it after the game, so it's a little bit less. I don't want to say distraction because that's a bad word for senior night, but some people do it during the halftime of the girls' game, or whatever, but it may be. But there's so much that goes into that day of senior day, that sometimes the game is just an afterthought a little bit, and you see some upsets during those actions too. But as we wind down the season, I don't want to say any more about the senior night except for the fact that it's always sad, for us as some of these guys we've been watching for 4 or 5 years now, and I'm always sad seeing guys play in their last few games here of their career.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also one of those times those teams are really dangerous right now too because if you're a top dog and you got a lot to lose, there's a lot you don't want to play somebody that's got nothing to lose, right? they're playing carefree and, emotionless, so to speak. They're just out there to have a good time. And we will see, I promise you, we will see some upsets in these final four games that really catch people's eye. And it could be, again, the emotion motivation of a senior night, or, could be just a group of guys that are a little more carefree. And sometimes those teams that have younger players that are just, maybe they're a year or two away from being a tournament type team, but they're starting to click, they're starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
That can be a fun type of team to watch at this time of year too. So it's if you're a hoops fan, there's no better time of year. It's pretty cool.
Yep, and we'll see what happens. We can, one loss can send some of these teams from a 1 or 2 seed down to a 4 or 5 seed in their own conference tournament, and
Right.
and we'll obviously have some more in the future here coming up on conference tournaments. But just great basketball being played. Even teams that are struggling, it only takes 1 or 2 wins to get back going, and then the conference tournament, always provides a lot of hope for re-hope for a lot of teams that maybe be on the outside looking in right now, but all they got to do is win 2 or 3 games to go win a conference tournament championship and get that auto bid. So these final few weeks, Coach, are always going to be exciting to watch, and I know you've been part of many of them. So
Yeah, I've been on both sides of it, right? Been in the spot where you're scrapping to get in, and then you just need to have one good week, right? To get in, and then been on the other side where you're jockeying for seeding and trying to put yourself in the best spot possible. So, like I think I said this a long time ago, but you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are, right? So you're only a couple possessions away. So good coaches and great programs are continuing to improve. They're continuing to evaluate execution. They're just focused on one game at a time mentality and trying to continue to get better as they prep for the postseason. And should be just it's been a fantastic year. A lot of fun stories, and those are going to continue to be written in these last few weeks and as we get ready for postseason play.
Well, speaking of team that I think that has a big mixture of those, 2 older classmen with a bunch of young pups walking around. We're going to talk some Concordia basketball with Coach Limback on our coach's conversation. Joining us today for our coach's conversation is Concordia, Nebraska head coach, Coach Limback. Coach, thank you for coming on the show. We're glad to have you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Coach, I know, we'll just jump right into the madness of the GPAC here. And I know I don't know if you can use the word, it worked itself out a little bit over the week because it's still pretty tight, but it's not a 5-way tie for first right now. You guys are coming off a big week, but you always want to talk a little bit about GPAC and just how good these teams are that are basically all within about 1 game of each other right now.
Yeah, no, I think, every league I think is tough this time of year, but I think it's kind of a unique thing. We haven't really, I think this is, my 11th year, so I think this is a unique situation where we have that many teams tied for first and fighting for position, and certainly there's a lot that needs to shake out yet, but to be in that mix with some great teams, I know is where you want to be this time of year. And we just talked to our team. I think every team across the country at the beginning of the season, they'll set goals to want to be, in that mix in the top. And I think at this point in the year, you want to be still saying that. And I think we're pretty blessed to be in that position right now.
Yeah, and I just think that, you guys were trending upwards a little bit going into, and you can talk a little bit about the uniqueness of the Concordia tournament that you guys have, or the Concordia Classic. You guys were trending upwards a little bit going into it, but then coming out of it, you guys just seem like you guys have really flipped the switch and are really playing pretty well this morning.
Yeah, I think that tournament every year. It's the end of January, and it can go 2 ways. I mean, it's pretty emotional, intense, and you throw the records out in tournaments like that, and I think you want to win that tournament, but it's kind of in the heart of the conference season, and so you break away, and it's the over 70 years it's been running, and so there's a great attendance and alums, and everybody's pretty passionate about it, but then you got to go back into conference play right after that weekend, and And so it can either springboard you in some cases, or it can really, nosedive you sometimes because of the emotions and the fatigue that could set in. So we were fortunate to win, the tournament, the CIT Concordia tournament, and then you got Morningside. You go on the road to Morningside, and and we kind of looked at the stretch ahead, and we had a great road win there, and I think they're a team that's always been in that mix at the national tournament, and I think then you got Northwestern, right after that, and they're another team that was they're having a great year, and then you got Dort. So I think that's the hard part with the GPAC is there's really no slouch, and I think you have to be prepared every day, and certainly again we're fortunate to at least be in the hunt right now.
Yeah, and just getting into your players a little bit, obviously led by Tristan Smith and Noah Shutt, and I know Noah's really stepped up here with Tristan being a little bit banged up, and no pun intended. I think I said this earlier too. No pun intended, but your young pups are playing really, really well as well. It's got to be nice. Never easy losing a player like Tristan, but you guys have had some guys really step up in his absence.
Yeah, no, I felt we told the team at the beginning of the year. I think this is a unique team where you have a good returning class. All Noah Shutt's been NAI tournament, all tournament team, and he's had a great career. His fourth year, and Tristan Smith, as you named, I mean, he's been tremendous this year, a double machine, and then you got all these young guys paired with that, and I think that's been the challenge is the consistency and the day-to-day things, but I also told our guys that we have a lot of room for growth with this team, and I think you look around the GPAC and a lot of them are senior or junior led, and I think we have a lot of young guys that we've been playing, and hopefully as we continue to get better and grow, I think that should favor us a little bit at the end, hopefully with just the depth and the legs and consistency of it. So I'm excited. We have a long ways to go, and a tough opponent today in Dakota Wesleyan. So I think the mix has been fun, though. It's a challenge at times, but certainly a fun mix to work with.
Yeah, and obviously Dakota Wesleyan and the Corn Palace, unique place there too, and a lot of I just talk to people. When we talk all the way around the country, we have some unique gyms and setups all around the country. The GPAC is got some bigger gyms even in their thing, but you guys, it seems like there's a sold out almost environment almost every single night out there, so it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no, the Corn Palace is a unique setting, and we've had some real barn burners here, and Coach Wilbur, he does a great job, and they're riding a nice 4-game win streak, I think. So it's always a great environment in terms of just the ambiance and the history of it, and certainly we're expecting a fun battle today, and one of those. Hopefully you get a classic game, but you're on the winning side. But definitely a fun place to play.
Coach, looking at your schedule, I had to smile a little bit because you spend the winter bumping around Nebraska and Iowa and everything else, but you got a kiss of some sanctuary there when you went to Hawaii for a few days. Tell everybody a little bit about that trip. What kind of spawned that trip, and what was that like for your team and your guys?
Yeah, we try to take those team trips like a lot of teams during the Christmas time. To be in sunshine instead of Nebraska, during the winter is a little different. So we, Hawaii. I've taken a few teams to Hawaii before, but this was a unique situation because we got to go to the Big Island, and play on in the city of Hilo, which unbelievable. I think anybody that gets a chance to go to the different islands, I think Titletown Events did a great job hosting it, and I think just the competition. We played Olivet Nazarene out there, having a great year again. Very, very tough team, and they're going to be a team that I think at the national tournament make a run. And we played a Division II team out there, which is tough, but I think the goal is when you go on these trips is to just get some team camaraderie, see some teams that you don't always see. But to go from, the Big Island where there's not much, tourist, stuff going on, kind of laid back, they call it the Oahu or the Aloha spirit. And then you go to Honolulu where all the beaches and the stuff that all the excitement goes on. I think to be able to experience both was a fun experience, and I think one that the guys will never forget.
And I imagine, I think about it. You talk about the Corn Palace, and if no one's ever been to the Corn Palace, make it your summer trip because it's a pretty fun place to see, regardless if there's a good NAIA game going on or not. But then you got Hawaii and all those things. And we talked to a lot of coaches about, what makes your school and your program special and unique. And if I'm a player or a transfer or a parent, what would make me interested in wanting to be a part of your program?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think we all have to talk about that with recruits and families. And I think for us, I think the biggest thing, we play in a very tough league, but certainly we're blessed with great facilities and strong academics. We actually lead all the NAIA schools all time in the number of scholar athletes. And so we take a lot of pride in our academics at Concordia. The biggest separator, I feel like, though, is the Christian faith environment. And I think, in today's world, to develop Christian leaders, people that will make an impact in their community beyond just the basketball side, I think is the biggest thing that we find is a big difference in our program and university. But certainly, you're in the Midwest, and it's a different culture too. But I love Concordia, and I think it's one of those things where we're just be blessed to be back at your alma mater, and one of those situations I think a lot of us would love to be in, and just thankful to do that.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing. It's fun to hear that, perspective, and everybody in the NAIA, we talk about it a lot. There's just such a broad depth of quality programs, quality universities, and quality coaches. And it's really fun to hear a little bit about what drives you and some of the fun opportunities for kids that choose to come play for you. It's really cool. You guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Coach, and I know obviously this will be airing on Monday, but you have a game here on Sunday, so we'll try to get you out of here if possible. But just trying to wrap up here. I know you don't want to look ahead too much here, but you want to talk about just kind of a little bit about the GPAC tournament and just obviously, when you have a season long, most of the season of regular season of conference play, and then all of a sudden you got to go play those teams all in a short period. And then again, what the GPAC tournament and the GPAC regular season gets you prepared for a national tournament run. You want to kind of wrap up things with that?
Yeah, no, I think, you start to look at that a little bit, positioning of your league and where you might land. And I think, you have, the 5 teams that were tied for first at one point, obviously, are all in the mix. But then you have 6, 7, 8, Briarcliff, Jamestown, and Dakota Wesleyan are all teams that have beaten, teams in that top 5. So I think, a lot of things will need to shake out clearly, but I think at this time of year, you want to be peaking at the right time, and I think that's a lot of health. You got to be healthy, and certainly the hunger, the senior leadership, the leadership in your locker room is extremely important. But you're talking about fighting for that road or the home game in the conference tournament, and certainly we want to have that opportunity to be a host school in the first round. But I don't know what's going to happen here. I think obviously Hastings upset Morningside on the road last night, so I think them and Northwestern are tied for first now, and again, out of those top 5 teams right now, one of those teams is going to have to go on the road, and so that's an important part of it. And then you face somebody a third time, and you want to be in that position to be at home that game. But all this stuff, I feel like junior prepares us for the national tournament, and I think like most leagues that are like this, where you're just beating each other up, ideally, it just makes you tougher and stronger when you get to that national tournament. And we're just hoping to be one of those teams at the end that continue to make a run. And so I'm excited. I think our guys are excited. I think it should be a fun ending here. And again, appreciate the opportunity to do this with you guys today.
Yeah, and that's Coach Ben Limback, Concordia, Nebraska, having a big time year and really playing some great basketball right now. And looking forward to Coach seeing you guys finish the season and seeing where the Bulldogs end up. So best of luck to you guys.
All right, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate Coach Limback coming on and joining us for our coaches conversation. This is there's no way to just list off every game that's big right now, Coach. So I think we'll call it a 6-pack. Well, technically it's Sunday, 6-pack Sunday, but we'll call it a 6-pack Sunday, even though this will be airing on Monday. Maybe good for a lot of people for the Super Bowl that'll be going on later on. But just 6 games that we like that have some meaning to them. Again, there's plenty more that will have plenty of meaning to them as well throughout the week, and we'll have those covered on our social media accounts and on our website as well. But for me, Coach, I'll get it started off. I think it's a big week for a team out of the GCAC in Talladega, a team that was red hot to start the year. They dropped a couple games in GSAC or in GCAC play, and now they have to have a big week against the top 2 teams in the league in Philander Smith and Tougaloo. And so GCAC is going to take a lot of shape. This is actually a year where the GCAC first year where they're going to have a regular season champion get an auto bid because they're a 10-team league now. So, this is a big week in the GCAC for that auto bid as Talladega goes and faces Philander Smith and Tougaloo both.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And that was a league for a while that was really wondered, is it going to stay together? Now to see it rebuilt back to 10 and get an auto bid from that regular season is pretty cool to see. So that'd be fun week in that league for sure.
Yeah, I know. I'll jump to another a big matchup. It's crazy, I think we mentioned it, but the Mid-South, even with 7 teams, now down to 7 teams this year, those top 3 teams in that league are so good and so fun to watch. And got Cumberland's came off a big win of Freed Hardeman this past weekend. And now turn around and play Georgetown. A win that ultimately could help them win the Mid-South, championship, regular season championship here. It's a big game for them. And then another big one on Saturday. We've talked a lot about the GSAC out west, and it's a little bit like the GPAC. It got a lot of teams within about 1 or 2 games of each other. And 2 of those teams is Ottawa, Arizona, and they're going to go face a very good Arizona Christian team as well. And the Masters has overtaken first place in that league, but these 2 teams are still in the hunt, trying to look for that GSAC title. So a big game on Saturday for them as well.
Yeah. And this is a week, even though there's about 4 games left for most people, it's a week where you're going to see some titles clinched, right? And so you're going to see some teams that really start to solidify that either 1 seed in the conference tournament or cut down the first of hopefully 3 nets, right? Cut down that regular season title and be pretty cool.
Yeah, I know you got 3 for us as well for our to round up our 6-pack here.
Yeah, not to be focused on one league too much, but the Sun Conference League we've talked about, where there's just been a lot of jockeying top to bottom. There's only a couple games separating. First place Ave St. Thomas right now tied for first all the way through Southeastern, who's 5th. There's only 2 games separating. There's only 1 game separating first and fourth. So a lot to be had here, and it's prove it week for Ave. They got Flomo on Wednesday night, and a chance to separate, get a 2-game lead on them, or vice versa. Flomo a chance to, get in a position to potentially close it. And then big one on Saturday was St. Thomas. St. Thomas has been playing really well lately. I think they got 6 in a row. I know we talked early in the season, Coach Crary probably hunting his first regular season championship on his resume. And so, I think that would be pretty meaningful to him as well, just on a personal coaching level. But A lot of good hoops coming out of that league this week, and for Ave, it's a chance to solidify number one position and set their sights on a conference title. And for St. Thomas, a chance to do the same, and Flomo a chance to stay in the mix. So really big week for that league. There's other good games as well. And then Saturday, Roosevelt South Bend. So Chicagoland, CCAC, number one versus number two. Roosevelt chance to clinch that league as well as we come down the stretch. So, and I know Coach D Brown, we did have a chance to talk to him recently, to get to post it, but awesome coach, doing a great job. And I think that would be that team's first conference title in the league. So really want to hats off to them if they can cinch this up. He's really done an amazing job there, and it's been fun to get to know him through the show.
Yeah, and no offense to the the Langstons of the world and even the Grace of the world, because I think Grace is getting some separation there too. But I, for one, love the chaos that goes all the way into the final game of the season. I know that the coaches around the country probably don't agree with me, as they, those ones that are trying to lock up some titles or would be very happy to do that as soon as possible. But those these last 4 or 5 games for most teams, as we mentioned on the show earlier, it's just a lot of fun. So many teams and players playing for so much right now, whether it be to extend their own careers, because some of these seniors, they're starting to get down to the last few games. It means so much to to so many people right now, and I can't emphasize enough what these last 4 or 5 games of the regular season are going to be like. And then we start, kind of turn the page, and you get a little bit more of that into postseason play. But these last 4 or 5 games of the regular season, because there still are, 220 some teams playing, you still see a lot more fight out of a lot of people right now.
Yeah. And hey, here's the deal too. If you don't like playing meaningful, tense, stressful games in February and March, you are in the wrong business, right? If you're a coach. So I don't want to hear anything from any of these coaches about, every game matters. Of course it does. That's hoops. That's where you want to be. You want to be in the hunt, playing meaningful games in coming down the stretch in February and March. So, there's 2 ways to look at it. One is, anxious and stressful, and the other is let's go get after it, baby. This is great. We got a few weeks left, and what a great opportunity sitting in front of us. So I know most coaches out there err on the latter side. They'd rather be playing meaningful games coming down the stretch than the latter. And it's really fun to watch. I love all the coaches we've had on this year, and even those we haven't, that we have relationships with, that it's just there's such a depth to the quality of human beings and quality of programs being run at the NAI level, probably as good as I've ever seen. And I've been around the NAI for a long time. And so I just hats off to all these programs. And for the kids whose seasons do end, thanks for all you've done. I'm sure we'll hit that more as we move through some of these seniors that exit out. And I know we'll highlight some of those kids, but even the ones we don't highlight, hopefully you've taken some memories from your time in college hoops and at the NAI level, and those will last a lifetime. So these last few weeks are Jekyll and Hyde. There's only going to be one team that ends happy. So everybody else is going to have to embrace it and deal with it.
Well, in the words of a great philosopher, Coach Kevin Lovers, let's get after it, baby. I'm ready for this week of action, and we will see you guys next week. Until then, it is Junior and Coach Lovers signing off.